What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Under the Hood with John the Hood podcast. I'm J-Hood, along with my crazy cousin Wiley. Cuzzo, good to see you, sir. How are you?
How's it going, Cuzzo? How's everything with you? How was your
Everything.
uh how was your week?
Week was good. We were off last week because I did a little traveling. I mean, Valparaiso is not really traveling, but when you're covering the UIC Flames, it's just trying to figure out how the Flames could get a victory at some point soon. We're going through a free fall right now, but that was cool. Went to Nashville over the weekend as well. UIC played Belmont. I learned some things about Belmont University. If you do some Google searches, there's it's interesting.
Okay.
Right there around campus is where slaves were held right there in Belmont or in that same vicinity in that area, and there's a
Oh, that's
tourist
a
attraction in Nashville.
yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know if you
That's
were aware of that. Did you were you aware of this?
I was not, but that's on the to-do list. To
It's place to see, but I didn't know that at the time. I'm just like, okay. I mean, it was fine. But it was good to be in like 65-degree weather and it rained the entire time. But you know what?
okay.
I went to the parking lot and I just stood out there and just let the rain just fall on me. 65 degrees, 25 degrees warmer than Chicago. I just let it rain on me. Go ahead, just rain on me.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
definitely
was
better than what we had going on here.
no question. You tell me about you. What is going on with you lately?
So just same old. Uh finishing up some projects, kids. Oh, so because I'm pretty sure she watches still. So I went to my brother-in-law's mother's funeral last week.
Uh huh.
So uh, go to the funeral last week, and I get a text message. I'm on my way there. Someone's like, text me like, "Are you coming?" It's Sonia. Sonia texts me, "Are you coming?" So I say, "Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm coming." So get there, she's happy to see me, which is great, even though it's a funeral. So we're leaving. She's like, "Walk me to my car." So I walk into a car hood, and as I'm walking to a car, she's like, "Well, I had to drive my husband's car because of whatever." But she goes into the back seat hood. She comes out with the bag and said, "This is for you." So because of our family, anyone knows the way to our heart is with alcohol,
Yes.
and she comes out with a bag, and inside the bag there was a box with Johnny Walker Blue Label. So she shows up to a funeral thinking of me with a $300 bottle of alcohol, just because. So I wanted to say definitely thank you, Sonia, for that gesture. It's greatly appreciated, and I will put that Johnny Walker to great use. I can guarantee you that.
She's never that kind to me, Sonia. Like if she would, it would be like a gallon of Old Taylor. It would never be a $300 bottle of Johnny Walker. Like what, Sonia? Like what about me? What about me? Where's my bottle? Like I'm happy for you, Cuzzo, that you're able to get one, but the idea that she gives you one and I'm over here with nothing. I got water. I got nothing. Like that ain't right. That ain't right at all. But I'm glad you got your. Have you opened the seal yet?
I have not. So I'm going to christen the bottle soon. So I want to definitely open it up really soon because it has to breathe a little bit. I want to let it breathe and then soak it all in. So yeah.
I bet you do soak it all in. Soak it
Oh
all in
yeah.
at one time. It's so ridiculous. Now listen. Now Rocky is not ready. No, now why is Rocky? Is he whining?
Well,
It's not his
Rocky.
turn yet.
Well, Rocky may not get a turn today because Rocky has been a very active. So what happens a lot of times during the winter is that we don't get the opportunity to go outside and like play the way we will play when the weather is warmer. So
Mhm.
when he can't play, he gets he decides to, release some of that energy inside the house. So he's always into various things. He didn't like destroy furniture, but he likes to bring items of clothing to places throughout the house. So yeah, we had to put him on doggy timeout. So I'll let Andrew decide if he wants to let him out or not. But
Okay, we can't have that. Listen, we can't have that whining through this podcast now. So Rocky's gonna have to leave because people are gonna think that you're abusing that dog, and all of a sudden you're gonna get a knock at the door, and then you're gonna be arrested like cops. Okay, so they're gonna come in the house. So Rocky's gonna have to stop before we continue. That Rocky has to
Andrew,
stop whining.
release him. Release him.
I mean, crying and stuff. I mean, it's not even his turn to be on the podcast yet. I mean, just crying like someone asking for $1 in front of the subway downtown.
Yeah.
Come
So
on,
yeah,
now.
that's his go-to. It usually works because there's usually someone who is going to feel bad for him. Like, oh, it's okay. It won't be me, but it'll be usually someone else.
Well,
No.
you can catch this podcast. It's available now. Look for Under the Hood with John the Hood wherever you get your podcast. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook as well. If you have any questions or comments, make sure that you leave them so that way we can answer them as we are live here on a Monday. And we also have merchandise as well, Cuzzo. You are wearing the Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood
Yes.
hoodie right now, the Carolina Blue, the very popular Carolina Blue.
Yes. The great Carolina Blue. And then we also have soon to be from this February, the Under the Hood t-shirt. Get you two.
Yes, it smells like the lady of the evening. Yeah. I should get. What'd you say?
It smells like success. Success. And then also you have the Under the Hood water bottle. So if you're like me and you like a little water, you can use this for that. But if you like most people who really have no use for water, you can put your pop, not soda. We it's pop. You can put your pop inside here. You can put a little little vodka, little orange juice, have yourself a screwdriver, while you're at work, looking productive. And whatever you want to put in, you can dress it up. The best thing about this is that it's going to stay cold. No matter how long you leave it in there, when you come back to it, it's going to be cold, which is, we love items that are cold. So get yourself an Under the Hood water bottle. And then, we're still in the winter months. And, you wake up most mornings, you're a little groggy, you're dragging, you get your morning coffee. And with your morning coffee, you usually like to have a little bourbon, a little whiskey, a flash of something, to, get your juices flowing in the morning, or get your juices flowing at night too. So,
yes,
get yourself an Under the Hood tumbler. Mine came with wads of cash. Like I said, where I cannot guarantee you that yours will come with wads of cash, but it may. So get yourself two just in case.
Yes, and Cuzzo's already in the sauce, so don't worry about that. It's always filled with something. So always remember, we have all that merchandise available right now. If you're watching on the video, we've got the link tree right there for you. Just make sure you go to our link tree. It's got the podcast. It's everything that we do here at Under the Hood. It's available now. Podcast, merchandise, and everything else. Well, I mean, one thing, Wiley, jet lag is actually a real thing. Jet lag's really a real thing, and here's why. So Sunday I came back from Nashville, and we got back like in the middle of the early afternoon because I want to make sure we got in time to be able to watch the NFC and AFC championship games. And so I'm watching the Chiefs and the Ravens. There isn't a lot of action going on, and there's nothing like saying, "Okay, I'm locked in," and all of a sudden You just start nodding off a little bit. Just like, is it me getting older, or is jet lag? When they said jet lag, is it a real thing? And it's not even a long trip though. That was under 2 hours. It's usually a little bit less than that, but there was some rain and some inclement weather there, so we had to sit on the tarmac for a little bit. But I mean, jet lag is a real thing, is it not?
So I'm sure it is, but I think part of that too was for you. You've been going like all week. You're like, as I say a lot of times, you're the hardest working man in showbiz. So you're constantly going. You're doing some shows, some podcasts. You're calling some game, and you're doing it around the clock. So your body at some point is like, hey, we need some rest. So one way or another, your body's going to make you, shut it down. So in this case, probably was just, bad timing. Along with just a long ass week or just a long ass schedule in general. So it's probably your body just shutting down for a little bit. Like, hey, need to recharge this battery real quick. So I know you want to watch this game, but let's power down real quick and get you up and running again for the 49ers and Lions games that evening.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs and Ravens was first, and so there wasn't a lot of action there. That's why you DVR these just in case.
Right.
You DVR these just in case you might nod off a little bit at halftime. But it was all good though. I really enjoyed what I saw this weekend. Let's delve into the first game, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Okay. So the first thing I look at is you got Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. And I'm watching this game and I thought Baltimore would win. And the reason why I thought Baltimore was win is because I thought Kansas City's luck would run out. You're playing on the road a couple times. And I said, you know what? I think Baltimore can be able to win by 3, 6 points, something like that. And so I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, Lamar Jackson is going to be able to do just enough to get past the Chiefs. And after this game is over, I'm just telling you, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes again. I mean, he can lose, and I won't bet against him because we're looking at the very best right now. We wondered who could replace Tom Brady as the best. We're seeing Lamar Jackson against Patrick Mahomes and that defense and the offensive weapons did enough to beat Baltimore.
So I picked the Chiefs to win, but it wasn't because I thought the Chiefs had a better team. I actually thought the Ravens had the better team. It was just the thinking of, I don't want to bet against Lamar Jackson in this game because one, not Lamar, bet against Patrick Mahomes because he usually finds a way, unless he's facing Tom Brady, he usually finds a way to win. He always finds a way to win. So it was just that thinking of, I know Lamar Jackson is at home. He has a better team. But I think Mahomes will find a way to win. And I don't know if it was as much of Mahomes as it was we were all texting during the game as well, as it was Todd Monken. Like that game plan offensively was just horrendous. You had the Chiefs blitzing like almost every single play, and every route was downfield. There's no time for those routes to develop. There's no time for those routes to develop because there's a blitz. So there has to be something short. There has to be some slant, something crossing the quarterback's eye so you can get rid of the ball. And you had Mahomes constantly trying to buy time, and it wasn't working well for him. And I know the narrative was that he choked, and it was a bad interception in the end zone. It was, but he drove them downfield. What should have been a short touchdown, but Flowers fumbled the ball. If Flowers doesn't fumble the ball, it's a different game because the Chiefs were having a difficult time moving the ball the entire second half. But overall, I thought it was a great game. And I think you'll see Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes probably with a mixture of Burrow for the next 5+ years. So that's good to see.
Well, you're looking at a 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, looking at his official numbers, 20 for 37, good for 272 yards and a touchdown interception. Okay, so from Lamar Jackson's standpoint, what he had to deal with was a strong defense by the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to give them their props because I know everything is about Mahomes, and rightfully so, I get that. But I thought that the defensive scheme that they were able to dial up to make sure they stopped the running game. Baltimore usually averages, Cuzzo, over 100 yards rushing on a regular basis. Not in this situation. Not in this situation. What happened was is that Baltimore only rushed the ball 81 yards. Lamar had 54 of those. So the defensive scheme was great for them. When Baltimore is shut out for 3 quarters, they only had a field goal in that fourth quarter. That when you do that against Lamar Jackson and Baltimore, a team that was on a real strong pace in the regular season, people forget Baltimore wasn't just some team. Baltimore was a team that beat the Dolphins 56-19. They beat the 49ers 33-19. The same team that beat the Bengals 34-20. They beat teams like the Seahawks 37-3. They beat the brakes off all these I think good quality teams. And when you are only get down to 10 points and you couldn't move the ball, that says a lot for the Kansas City defense. So Lamar Jackson and I believe that the offensive play calling has to be better. There's no doubt. But I mean, give all the credit in the world to the Chiefs and what they were able to do.
No, I agree. The Chiefs defense, their scheme was great, but it's, and I know it's like one of those things where like stop blaming coaching. The players play the game. Superstars supposed to overcome whatever coaching deficiencies they may have. But to me, to your point, for a team who rushes the ball so well, it was glaring to see only 8 rushing attempts. Only 8 rushing attempts.
Yeah.
Like Lamar Jackson made the other 3 happen on his own just through scrambling from and passing downs, but only 8 actual rushing attempts. You can't have that against a team who struggles against the run. The Chiefs struggled stopping the run, and Todd Monken was like, hey, you know what? We're going to pass the ball. But we're not just going to pass the ball. We're going to call all deep passing routes in the face of a blitz. And we're going to expect you to beat that blitz, on a go route. It's not going to work. It's not going to work against an elite secondary. So, I think that in some cases, Lamar Jackson missed some gimmies. There were some gimmies he missed. I think overall, if I'm placing blame for that game, it's the players that were undisciplined. So Harbaugh gets blamed because his team was undisciplined the entire game. Like too many personal foul penalties. And then that the game plan from Todd Monken, where you're not running the ball. You got Flowers just undisciplined and fumbling the ball. And then maybe I get to Lamar Jackson when we about the 4th or 5th person on the list of person who gets to share the blame. But there wasn't to me as much choking as it was a team that wasn't prepared for the moment. And I think
but you asked the question how? Right? How does that happen? In this scenario, you have a 2-time MVP and Lamar Jackson. You have a team that is on a roll, and somehow, some way, this is the time that you want to fuck up. Now's the time. Look, you're going to win and lose games, but I really believe that Baltimore gave that game away as much as Kansas City beat them because of what you just laid out. Zay Flowers, 5 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. There's 3 things that stood out. One, dude is taunting, right? So he gets this big play from Lamar Jackson, big time reception, and he looks down at his defender and spins the ball. That's taunting. 1. 2, where he fumbles the ball right there at the goal line, an opportunity for Flowers to score, and he fumbles right at the goal line, so that becomes a touchback. And then he gets pissed off and he hurts his hand because he's so mad about what happened. He injures his hand and he's bleeding from the palm, and so that's frustrating. Lamar Jackson throwing his helmet because he's so pissed off. You're like, all this worked in the regular season. What happened in this game? The biggest moment, the personal foul penalties. You're trying to go after Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of like, what was Van Noy thinking in that spot? So it just, to me, Cuzzo, it's like everything imploded in the worst opportunity. It's Patrick Mahomes. You have to keep your poise. You're at home. You've had a good season. Why do that now? That's the thing I just don't understand. Again, we'll take your comments, put your comments in on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, and we'll read your comments as we move forward. But I don't understand that. Now, by the way, because of this, Cuzzo, I'm not going to, look at Patrick Mahomes any differently than I always have. This guy here is a special player. We thought
Yes.
after Tom Brady, what happens to the NFL? Who's going to be able to lead it? Can you think about what the Chiefs have accomplished? We are watching a dynasty right here. Patrick Mahomes went 2-0 on the road. He had never played a road playoff game prior to the 2023 divisional playoffs. Kansas City was underdogs the last 2 weeks, and now they're the defending champions to win multiple games as a betting underdog in a single postseason. Think about it. They were underdogs twice. Twice they were underdogs, and they found a way to win.
And it goes to your point of how special he is, like a Tom Brady, possibly better than Brady. I mean, he has, longevity matters, so he has to do some work, but possibly better than a Brady. Because if you look at talent-wise, you could argue, and probably correctly argue, the Bears have more offensive talent than the Chiefs does right now. He's the exception to that. He's the exception. He makes a shitty offense work. It's a shit offense. You have old man Kelsey. He's moving like, he's on his last leg. This may be it. And this isn't it next year. It's definitely it for him. He doesn't have much left in the tank. Or she's drained the tank. She's possibly she's drained the tank.
We have a picture.
Mickey said
we have a picture of this lady here that he's been with, Taylor Swift. So that's not what you said is not true, by the way.
It is.
No, it's not true.
If you're a Rocky fan, you know what Mickey said. Mickey said women weaken legs. So if you look at Travis Kelce's legs, they look weaker than they looked last year. And I can only blame Tay for it. Taylor Swift is, I know Swifties may come for you now. I apologize, but it's
come for me.
Fault.
Come for me. You the one said it. Just because you look, we look similar facially, and you got a beard, that doesn't mean I didn't say that. You said that. Here's the point. Okay, let's go back to your Bears point. Your Bears point is incorrect. It's not that I disagree. It's incorrect. Travis Kelce is a Hall of Fame tight end. Do the Bears have a Hall of Fame tight end? They do not. You look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You look at Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice. What I'm saying is that the Bears have one reliable receiver. Kansas City is part of this offense, and whether or not you think the system is great or not, that system works because of Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City has more weapons than Tom Brady did in most years. Tom Brady got the garbage man, the accountant, the bum on the street, and won Super Bowls because of it. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
No, he did, but I don't disagree that the Bears don't have a Hall of Fame player maybe on the roster offensively, but I'm looking at a Travis Kelce who's on the back nine of his career. Like he may have a couple more holes left, when it comes to his career. So when I'm comparing his talent right now to that of DJ Moore's, I think DJ Moore is equally a quality player, or on the level of where he is today. Not career-wise, just today. Like if you told me if I could have, if I wanted DJ Moore or Travis Kelce to run routes today, not for a career, just today, I think DJ Moore will probably get open more than Travis Kelce today. I think Cole Kmet, it's an up and coming tight end. Obviously, he's nowhere near Travis Kelce's level, but I think it's an up and coming tight end. I think Rashee Rice, I don't know, that's
he's just a guy. He
has potential. There's potential there, but like we saw this year, Mahomes putting balls in the perfect spots, and you have the MVSs dropping the ball. You have the Watsons dropping the ball. You have players who are put in position to win games, and they can't catch easy passes. So I think because Mahomes is so great, and to your point, I'm not sure if that's Brady level yet, because like to your point, Brady did play with you and I. They put you and I out there and said, go run a route.
Right.
And he won Super Bowls with us running routes. But I think when to the point where you hear people say, oh, Mahomes is only winning because he's around great players. He may win 2 Super Bowls in a row, and the best player on his team was the only star on his team was Travis Kelce, and an aging star at that. So at some point, you can't say Mahomes is just great because of the talent. No, Mahomes is great because Mahomes has, generational talent. Like I don't remember young Dan Marino, because I hear a lot of people say Dan Marino's like the greatest quarterback of all time, but he doesn't have rings.
Yes.
I can't imagine. I don't remember young Marino. I have never seen. I love Tom Brady, favorite athlete of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen a player play at the level of Patrick Mahomes at all. Never seen a quarterback play at the level of Patrick Mahomes ever. And he has a long way to go to catch Brady when it comes to GOAT talk, but he's well on his way if he can just sustain the level of success he's had over his first 6-7 years in the league.
I'm so happy for Mahomes, and I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I do have friends of mine that are Kansas City Chiefs fans, and they went through the good and the bad, but this is the excellent. Because we're watching greatness, and I'm going to appreciate it too. We talked a little bit about this on Cap and J-Hood this morning on ESPN 1000. You can download the ESPN Chicago app and catch our show. We talked about the appreciation of greatness. I know on social media and even just talking to friends and family, there's always like this debate on who's better, who's best, who's the GOAT, who's not. And I'll just tell you that this young man is special. There's some that just like to hate just because, oh, well, he's not on my team, so I don't care. It's kind of how people feel about LeBron James the same way. But I got to keep in mind the greatness. I got to be able to enjoy the moments, because I need to know from my sports fandom, who was great. And I just think we're looking at an all-time great right here. Here's a guy there that was a 3-sport athlete in high school. He played baseball, football, and basketball. He was a nice little hooper. He wasn't, I think that might have been the third of the three that he was good at. But the point is, though, is that he's a second-generation guy. His dad, Pat Mahomes, was a former Cubs pitcher, a pitcher in the major leagues. And so this young man, from his time at Texas Tech to where he is right now, has been able to capture the hearts and minds of a lot of fans that are like, wow, this is the standard. That's what the quarterback position is supposed to look like. And it ain't like the drop back classic quarterback that you saw in NFL films. He does it his way, and it's his system. And no matter if Eric Bieniemy is there or not, Matt Nagy's there or not, he just continues to cook. And so I appreciate what I see with him. Again, he's not on my favorite team, but I can appreciate the greatness for what it is.
Oh, absolutely. And fortunately, just even as a fan, fortunately, he isn't like on the Packers or a team like that where you would want to appreciate it, but you'll be miserable because you know what he's doing to your team every single year. You're not going to eat it all because he's going to make sure you don't have a shot. But yeah, it's great to see a kid come into the league and from his first start just be great. Like he hasn't missed a beat, and he's approaching that Brady point where you can put anything around him, he's still going to win. You can put anything you want to put around him, he'll find a way to win. And when you see that level of greatness, it's fun to watch. Now, what's rare, what Brady did, and most players don't do, Brady sustained that success for 20 years to the point where Brady was like, hey, you know what? I'm 43 years old. I want to switch teams. I want to switch teams and still beat that ass with, an entirely different team. So like that's what Patrick has to get for me to say he has GOAT status over Brady. But he's well on his way.
Travis Kelce, and we got to talk about Travis Kelce for a minute because of T Sizzle. But Travis Kelce caught 11 of his targets Sunday, his most receptions without incompletion in his career. And so think about this: how great is Travis Kelsey? Because though he has the most playoff receptions all time. He surpassed Jerry Rice. Julian Edelman had 118. Rob Gronkowski had 98. Kelsey won 156. Now, he may not be the same tight end that he once was because we saw some drops from him this year. We saw some drops from a lot of the Kansas City Chiefs. But the idea that he's got the most playoff receptions of all time, I mean, he goes right into the Hall of Fame. He's that good.
Yes. They probably just skip the waiting period and say, hey, we're just going to put you in next year.
Now, I want to ask you about this lady here. This lady, Taylor Swift. Now she's going to be overseas in Super Bowl week that weekend, and she's going to make it back to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. I want to get your thoughts about her involvement. I want to ask you, what do you think is what do you think is best? Do you think that she's doing a solid for the NFL or doing a solid for her music and her label? Which one?
It's definitely for the NFL because like she's not getting any extra fans that she didn't already have. Now the NFL, they're getting her fans. Her fans are watching the Chiefs in the league primarily because of her. I'll be honest. Initially, I was like, "This is fake. This isn't real." She's going to make another album, or a song about Travis Kelsey, and it'll be over. It'll be fine. He'll have his fun, and that'll be it. She'll just spit them out. But it's now that she'll just spit them out. Or maybe she'll swallow. I mean, no.
Why? I had such a good career going. It's all over now. I had such a great career. And now we're talking about spit and swallow with the Kelsey. All right. Go ahead.
But it seems genuine now. Like she seems to genuinely care. And to being honest, for someone I think she's in Tokyo the night before, to travel from Tokyo to Vegas to be in time for that game. That's dedication. That is right there. So kudos to her. Kudos to her and the Swiftie clan. Kudos to all of them because while they may not understand the game, the NFL, getting more fans, obviously just makes the monopoly stronger. So, I'm happy. I'm happy for him. Happy for the Chiefs. And initially, like I said, I thought it may be an issue, but she's there and they're winning now because early in the year I was like, look, I don't know, you all are struggling. You look a little older than you did last year. Maybe you need to find some way to do something different. And maybe she is getting paid for I think I hope I'm saying your name.
Wait, let's read what's on the screen here because we have people that's chiming in. Ravi Come Up says that it's a publicity stunt. That is one, and it also says she's paid under the table by the NFL. Well, I don't have a tinfoil hat, and I'm not into conspiracy theories, so neither one of those things is not true. Actually, both of those things are not true. It's not a publicity stunt, and I don't think that she's paid on the table of the NFL. Now, what I will say is that, yes, they're dating. Now, how far they're taking it, I don't know. But it's not for publicity because here's why. Travis Kelsey is already a made man as an NFL Hall of Famer if he stops playing after the Super Bowl. He's one of the all-time great tight ends. He doesn't need the publicity. Taylor Swift sells out football stadiums. Okay, she's making money hand over fist. She continues to be a pop star, so she doesn't need the publicity. So why do these two need the publicity? That's why I asked the question the way I did. I asked the question: who does this do? Who is this for? Does this do more for the NFL or for pop music, country music, and her brand? And I'm telling you that it's probably for the NFL because now that brings a whole group of people that usually don't watch the NFL to see her. So now you have women, you have young women, you have T-Sizzle fans. They're not sports fans. They are watching just so they can see her, not even because they understand football. They just want to see her in the box. That's what they want to
Yes.
see. And so, I mean, that helps with the audience, that's for sure. But she's not paid on the table for the NFL. They don't do that. C-Dub says that says this. He says that it definitely doesn't seem organic. That's for sure. Oh, so would you like for them to fuck out on the 50-yard line? Would that convince you?
Well,
I mean, seriously, with
well,
that
I
because
mean,
what? I
that's
mean,
a quality
seriously,
halftime show.
exactly. Well, it doesn't seem organic. I want to see penetration.
No,
What? I mean,
it seems I get people being skeptical of celebrities, and in their public romances. But to your point, I kind of piggyback on your statement. I think she's a billionaire, so she's not in need of money. She's not some C-list, B-list celebrity. She is right there with the Beyoncés of the world, probably surpassing the Beyoncés of the world. So she's not in need of, any extra attention or any extra revenue. So I think she's fine on that. If it would help anyone, it would be Travis Kelce. It helps him build his brand for his post-football days, but he's still a Hall of Famer. So it's not really, doing that much. It helps the NFL. This isn't helping her. So, and she seems genuine when it comes to her enthusiasm for watching him play and her dedication. So, like I said, kudos to her. Kudos to the Swiftie clan, and hopefully, they stick around.
now here's what's wild. She's like looking at the TV that's in the suite, and she didn't understand how come the TV is trying to find her in the suite. You're Taylor Swift. Of course,
Right.
they want to be able to see you. I mean, could you imagine what that does for the NFL broadcast just to have her on TV just for a second? That's how big of a star that she is. Mark says that how is it crazy to think two celebrities are dating? It happens all the time, right? Whether it's for business reasons or if it's for business reasons.
Right.
There's a reason
Yeah.
why that happens, right? Whatever the reason. They had an embrace, they kissed, and that's great. That's cool. All I know about Taylor Swift is it's not like I'm a big listener of her music. I just know that she breaks up and she goes through a lot of guys, and she writes songs about them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
She's gonna put your
that's
name in
all
the
I know.
song.
Yeah, you did. If you break up, you're gonna be your name or the circumstances will be in the song. Will that happen to Travis Kelce? I have no idea. Mark says, does anyone remember when Mahomes' brother was on the TV during every game? Yes, it's only because he's trying to get all up in the video. Come to death row. Yeah. So because he wanted to be the attraction, it's like, no, you're Patrick Mahomes' asshole brother. That's who you are.
Right.
Because you always get him in trouble, because of stuff that you decide to do. Jackson Mahomes, thank you, Mark. Yeah, that was his name. Yeah, all of a sudden now you don't see him anymore. So if I have my druthers, Jackson Mahomes, Taylor Swift, I don't mind seeing Taylor Swift every now and then. Now listen,
Yeah.
I'll just tell you because I don't get it. I don't get it, but I understand why people like her and this whole scenario.
Yeah. I've never. There are artists who I'm huge fans of, but I've never been to the point where I was a part of their cult. So, kudos. Like that type of dedication. Like I have no issues with that at all. That's a level of dedication that I haven't reached yet. But I love it. I love the passion. Love the enthusiasm, and I think it's great for entertainment. It's great, and this is great for the game too. I think in a way, it's like a great side story.
Did you say cult? Is that what you said?
Yes, that she has a cult follow. It's like the Beehive. Like Beyonce has a cult following. And they tell you like the Swifties. I'm a Swiftie. The Beehive. I'm a part of the Beehive. I don't have. There's no artist or entertainer that I'm like, hey, I'm a part of whatever. No, I'm not. I'm a fan, but that's as far as it goes.
Oh, you know what I meant to tell you? We're going to get to Detroit and San Francisco in just a moment. And I also have Zach Lavine news I want to pass along.
Yes.
I meant to tell you this. I got tickets to see Janet Jackson. No, and the reason why I did is because I want to see her in a big arena before she starts doing the casinos.
Okay.
So I just before she start doing the horseshoe casino or something like, I wanted to see her in a big arena. So I think that's gonna be dope. I never saw her in concert. No, that's it's been since I was a kid. Last time I saw Janet Jackson, it was the '80s.
I've never seen her in concert, but I've seen like video of her. She could have had a career artist.
What are you saying there? What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know,
What do you say?
she's a quality dancer. She's a quality dancer.
Uh huh.
Yes.
How about the
Yes.
vocals?
You know, those are great too.
Oh
The
my
entire
god!
package works. The
Yeah,
entire
of
package
course,
works.
of
Yes.
course. Penny, she gets it done. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, she
Just
gets.
just avoid that iron right there. Just avoid that iron. You know.
I think that I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be in June, I think. I also do believe, by the way, in going out of town for concerts. It just happens she's going to be at the United Center.
Okay.
I was going to go to California to see her in Los Angeles. But and that still could happen too. We'll see how much vacation time I can accumulate, because I'm going to work all the holidays. I'm going to get comp days up the ass. I've decided, because this is the year of the comp day. They're gonna be like, "Where's Hood? He's been off for 3 weeks." I'm just stacking up all the comp days: Dr. King Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, July 4th. I'm gonna work all of them. I'm gonna be like Colin Cowherd. I'm gonna work all the holidays, right, and just build up like the comp days and just be off forever. All summer. I ain't
That works.
sitting around here watching this Bears nonsense. But anyway, so I meant to tell you that. So, are you going to go to any concerts this spring or summer?
Right now, there's none on my radar at all.
None you
Yeah,
want
there's
to
none on my
take?
radar. There's we have to see. We'll see, but there's none on my
Oh
radar
my
right now.
god, this is so ridiculous! You and your nonsense. All right, well, we move on now. In other words, folks, I speak cousin Wiley. He doesn't know who he wants to take yet. So that's what that's all about. Put your comments in, by the way, and we'll read your comments as we move along on Facebook, as well as YouTube and on Twitch for the Under the Hood with John the Hood podcast. And again, you can catch the audio version, probably better. Catch the audio version available wherever you get your podcast. Look for Under the Hood with John the Hood. Hit that subscribe button, and boom, you're right in. How about my man Dan Campbell, or Man Campbell? Let's talk about Man Campbell and the Detroit Lions. The San Francisco 49ers defeat the Lions by a score of 34-31, Cuzzo. And in this game, this was a game that Detroit had won. It was 24-7 at the half. 24-7. Detroit had the lead, and they gave up 17 unanswered points. Another 10 in the fourth quarter, and San Francisco wins 34-31. However, it's just not that easy. Let me start off first with something that's not talked about enough. And that is, what happened to Detroit's defense? Let's start there first, right? I mean, because so they relinquished 17 points in the third quarter. You're up 24-7. You're on the road, and they looked good. Jared Goff was very good, getting the ball down the field. They ran the football effectively, connecting to Laporta and Jameson Williams and David Montgomery and St. Brown. They were doing fine, and all of a sudden, they collapsed. 17 points. Detroit only scored 7 points in the second half. We have numbers and stats to break down, but I'll start there. Like, they choked the hell out of that game. They choked it away. Detroit, back-to-back home games and for the playoffs, they win. They go on the road. They continue their momentum from the previous two games, and they lose 34-31.
So defensively, I think they gave 27 straight points before the Lions finally stopped the bleeding on offense. I think Aaron Glenn just dropped the ball in the second half. I think for whatever reason, and it's just not to take any credit away from Brock Purdy and in the 49ers offense. But when you have a team down 17, you got to go for the kill. And they didn't. They allowed Brock Purdy to stick around for long enough where he started gaining confidence. He started gaining confidence as a passer and as a runner. And as he was building confidence, you could see the Lions is going to do the Detroit thing. They're going to go full Detroit in this NFC Championship game and somehow find a way to blow it. And I enjoyed it because I'm a NFC North Bears fan, so I enjoyed the misery of the Lions in that game. But it was, I think it's easy to point to the offense and say, "Oh, you should have done this, should have done that." You gotta get a stop defense. You have to stop someone. And it isn't that the defense doesn't have talent. They have a lot of talent. It just didn't show up in the second half, and that cost them the game. If they keep the 49ers out of the end zone once or twice, or just hold them to a field goal, it's a different ball game. But the 49ers and Brock Purdy were just marching up and down the field at will, scoring touchdowns. And when you give up 27 points and almost 300 yards, or I think over 300 yards in 1.5, you're not going to win many games. You're not going to win definitely a playoff game. And I think that was the difference right there, was that the defense, Aaron Glenn's defense, couldn't get a stop. So he went from probably being a head coach this year to definitely being back on the sideline for Detroit next fall.
So yeah, and so okay, so now we get to what everyone's talking about, but I just want to point that out first because it's missed that the Lions found a way to lose that game because the defense let up. That's one thing. But this man here is a riverboat gambler. And so where's my yellow pad? Where's my pad? I'm just going to go from memory because I wrote it down this morning on Cap and J-Hood. I believe, and please don't hold me to this, I believe it's 36% of the time on fourth down, Detroit goes for it and they're successful. But
yes.
Here's the thing, though. When keeping it real goes wrong, when you can't get that fourth down play, what happens then? See, it's one thing to admire Dan Campbell and say, oh, man, they're just so aggressive, and I like how they always go for it. Okay, that's great. But why is it that in the first half, in the second half, why didn't they just take the points? I just think that when you're up, Cuzzo, you got to continue to add on because you don't know if there's going to be a comeback. The field goals they refuse to go for and them missing on fourth down came back to bite them. It's as simple as that. Like, what you're missing in that game? At least 3 points because you lost 34-31 because you were aggressive. And I'm saying, like, okay, this is what you've always done. But can I just tell you, you cannot be that inflexible as a head coach. You can't just be like, you know what? I'm at the blackjack table and I'm just going to go all in every time. All in every time. Because you're not going to win every time. Just like Detroit did not win on Sunday night.
So I heard, I listen to the show pretty much every morning. And I was listening this morning as well. And I was consuming sports talk throughout the day. I disagree though. Like, I disagree with that, with the thinking about what Campbell did during the game. I don't think that was the mistake. So you have a kicker, I believe the kicker name is Bagley or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like 50% kicking field goals from 45 plus. Like that's one, he shouldn't be your kicker if he can't make a 40 plus yard field goal. He probably shouldn't be on your team. But he's shitty when it comes to kicking 40-yard field goals. And both of those field goals, I think it was like one was like 44, the other one was like 47. So he pretty much has a 50% chance of making both of those. Could have easily missed both. So for me, watching the game, I wasn't mad at Campbell. If I was Lions, I wasn't mad at him for going for it because they didn't call like Luke Getsy like plays. Where you're like, what the fuck was that? Like, how do you call that play on fourth down? No, the plays were perfect. They had Josh Reynolds hit, and the ball hit him in his hands both times, and he drops it.
Yeah,
he drops it. So this isn't a case of a Luke Getsy play fucking your team over. This is a case of you dialing up the perfect play, you finding a wide open receiver, you putting the ball in his hands, and on back-to-back fourth downs, he drops the ball. So maybe you could say on the second, fourth down, after he drops the first one, maybe you don't go to him on the second time. Maybe that could be the argument. But the play calling wasn't the issue. It was the execution by a receiver. Your job is to catch the ball. You're wide open. The ball's thrown perfectly. Catch the fucking ball. Catch the ball, your team has a shot at winning the game. So Campbell talked about getting to 30 points first. That was whoever got to 30 first will win the game. So they were at it was 24-27, I believe, at that point when the last time he went for it on fourth down. 24-27. It was like a 47-yard field goal he could have kicked, tie the game up. So I understand the thinking of, okay, we want to get to 30 points first. We get 30 first. We grab the momentum back. Maybe we can win this game. Go for it on fourth down. Easy play. Josh Reynolds. Goff makes a perfect pass. He's wide open. He drops it again. So as a fan, I can't blame Dan Campbell for that. Because
that's fair.
Just as Josh Reynolds dropped the ball, the kicker who can't make 40-yard field goals could have missed the field goal. And then we would be saying, why would Dan Campbell go for the field goal when he never goes for field goals on fourth down? Why did he get scared to stay true to himself in a big moment? Because that's what happens a lot of times in big moments. People get tight. They change their MO. His MO is be aggressive.
Because those are still football plays, though. I'm not criticizing Dan Campbell on this podcast if he goes for a field goal, because you know why? Because when you're inflexible like that, you say, well, 4th and 2, 4th and 4, 4th and 6, I'm just going to keep going for it. Okay, at some point, that's going to dry up. You know, I watched Brandon Staley with the Chargers. He's out of a job right now because he always went for it on fourth down. And even though Justin Herbert's a good quarterback, at some point a defense is going to hit you in the mouth and be like, okay, we're not today. And so you are correct. When it comes to those plays from Josh Reynolds, you are correct when we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs fumbling the football when that should have been Montgomery's carry. Why did you run it right into the line with Jahmyr Gibbs? Kind of a different back than Montgomery. Montgomery more like a fullback. That's a fullback play. And because they don't have a fullback on the roster, Montgomery's bigger than Gibbs. Montgomery would have been shorthanded and be able to get you that first down or whatever you're looking for in that spot. And would be able to hold on to the football. Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, gave it up. There's certain plays that happened that was uncharacteristic of the Lions. That is for sure.
Here's the truth. I assumed, and I have to give him credit because I assumed that the Lions would lose because Jared Goff was going to suck. That's what I thought. I said the Lions are going to lose because Jared Goff is going to be Jared Goff. In a big moment, he's going to make some huge mistakes, and they're going to lose the game. He was great.
He was fine.
He executed the offense.
That's a top 10 quarterback now. That's a top 10 quarterback now in the league.
I can't take anything away from him now. Like I was like, I didn't trust him at all. Like I would criticize him as any chance I got, but he played really well. He made the plays he was supposed to make. He made the passes he was supposed to make. So when Josh Reynolds drops the ball, I can't say, you know what, Jared Goff, you got to be better. No, you did what you were supposed to do. You found the open man. You found the open man. You put the ball in his hands. He gets paid to catch the ball. He did not catch the ball. So it was the Lions thing to do. Like we know, like there's just some snake bitten teams where when it matters most, they're going to find a way to lose the game. And the Lions found a way to beat the Lions at the worst possible time, and it sucks for the organization and it sucks for the fans. But, as a Bears fan, I was laughing. I was laughing and clapping the entire time. It was like, I knew it was what happened. They were up 17. I was like, oh, I texted you, was like, I think I texted you and said something to the effect of, this is surprising right here. I didn't expect this. But at the end, I was like, yep. That's the Lions team I know. That's the Lions team I've watched my entire life.
Yes.
They went to bed.
You had to wait all the way to the championship game to see it, though, right? You had to wait. You thought that the Lions would fuck it up, but they didn't do it until the end. And so I give them credit, okay, because they did more than the Bears did this year. Despite the loss, the Lions still They had a first division title since 1993, the first playoff win since 1991, the first conference championship appearance since 1991, and second overall. So I'll give them credit for that. But here's where the realism comes in. Cuzzo, Dan Campbell after the game with his big red nose. You know he's mad when the nose is like beat red, like Santa Claus, right? Like Rudolph. Yeah, because when he's mad, that nose is red. You're like, is he drunk? No, he just pissed. So he was there at the podium and he said, guys, he goes, I told the team afterwards, I said, who knows if we'll be back here next year? That's real. That's almost like
It
sports
is.
talk, right? He's like, who knows we're good because he does. He says, I don't care who we draft or who we have in free agency. So in these situations, you have to be able to capture the moment, and we
Yeah.
didn't get the moment. He goes, I don't know that we'll be back here again. Now, my prediction is that they will be in the playoffs next year because again, the Bears need to do some retooling. They still need to add more. Green Bay, I expect them to be in the playoffs, but Detroit will be there. But will they be in the conference championship? Not so sure about that. And I think one of the major reasons is that Ben Johnson is taking the Washington Commanders job. Now
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is the flavor of the month offensive coordinator. He's done a great job with the Lions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. When he wait until he goes to Washington, see how great a job he does. Okay. He doesn't have Jared Goff and doesn't have Montgomery and Gibbs, doesn't have Laporta and St. Brown. It's a different deal
Right.
in Washington. But the whole point of that is that there's always change in the NFL. And with Johnson gone, they had to find a new OC. They'll still have some of the players from this year on the team next year. But I think that Campbell, the most truthful thing he said was, I have no idea if we'll be here next year. It was hard to get to where we are. He goes, everyone's going to be gunning for us. They got a first place schedule coming up next year. We'll see.
And I think as a fan, you appreciate his level of meatballism. Like that. It's refreshing in today's NFL where everyone is, you know, so buttoned up in
Sure.
the way they approach the game. It was refreshing to get a guy, who's talking about like biting ankles and shit, and the team rallying around him because of his approach. He seemed like a genuine guy, and a quality coach. But to his point, you're right. Like you don't know if you're going to get back because what gives you a shot at getting back is when you have a Mahomes. You can usually like pencil yourself in when you have one of those guys. But there's only one of those in the league right now, so you can't pencil yourself into anything. So when you have a shot at winning a Super Bowl or even making it to Super Bowl, you have to, you have to grab it by the balls and hold on tight. And
I'm
they
glad you
didn't.
said I'm glad you said balls there, Billy Bush. I'm glad you said grab him by the balls. I was very concerned
Yeah.
there. I'm not sure what you were going to say there. I wasn't sure what you were going to say there. Be careful now. This is election year.
you know,
The Lions have
they'll
lost
let you
12.
do it.
Yeah, that's what I was told. That's what I heard. The Lions have lost 12 straight road playoff games, the longest road losing streak in postseason history. We want to before we talk about the Bulls briefly. I just want to give San Francisco all the credit in the world because how they were able to stick with it. They could have easily just fold the tent 24-7 down and then come back and win the game 34-31. Brock Purdy is not great, but Brock Purdy knows how to put the ball where it needs to be in tight situations. We saw this in back-to-back playoff games. The eighth quarterback to start a Super Bowl within the first 2 years of the league, and the first since Joe Burrow. I think that he's fine for the system he has. Again, he struggled mightily in that first half and took a lot of sacks, but he's still learning on the job. That system that San Francisco has is quarterback friendly. He's able to, and thank for his sake, he's got Debo Samuel, he's got Ayuk, he's got McCaffrey, so he's Kuschek, so he's got weapons. I just want to give them a shout out because McCaffrey, 2 touchdowns for the 49ers, fourth player in NFL history to score a touchdown in each of the first 6 playoff games. He walks with Damian Williams, Marcus Allen, and Terrell Davis. And so, I mean, the 49ers come in there with some momentum because they had to come from behind from a big deficit and win. So, and they ran the football effectively with McCaffrey. So I just thought in the big moments, San Francisco came up in the second half. They always say there's no adjustments. There was an adjustment from one half to the other, and you could see it in the game.
You could. But to your point, I want to touch on something with Purdy real quick before we move on to the Bulls. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in talent, like who has the most talent and whatever. I look at guys. I'll give you example of two guys. If you told me I can pick one guy to win one game between Justin Herbert and Brock Purdy, I'm going to take Brock Purdy every day of the week. Not because Brock Purdy is more talented than Justin Herbert, but when the pressure is on, the moment is never too big for Brock Purdy. When the pressure is on, you see sweaty Justin Herbert fold every single chance he gets. So when talent-wise, Herbert is a far better quarterback when it comes to talent than a Brock Purdy. But when it matters most, Brock Purdy seems to be reliable. We saw him even during the season this year against the Browns, marching the team down the field, even though Moody missed the field goal. Playoffs against the Packers, and then overcoming a deficit yesterday. The moment wasn't too big for him, and that matters when you're trying to win championships. So while he may not be as talented as a lot of quarterbacks in the league, he's a gamer. And sometimes having a gamer on your team with the right system and the right players around them, that works. So yeah, I would take a Brock Purdy for one game if it mattered over a Justin Herbert every day of the week.
All right. See your comments, by the way. Continue with your comments because we're going to be closing up shop pretty soon here. We're over an hour, so we're over the time limit because of Wiley, as always. Mark says Lions are going to lion, and Campbell need to take the points. And so some thoughts there. So let us move on to the Chicago Bulls, shall we? That's how we'll wrap up the podcast. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. So, Cuzzo, I should just read from my phone. How about that? First of all, let me take Mark's thoughts down so we can have a clean. I need an intern. I need to take. Hold on a second. I gotta take this down. Anyway. Let me just go over here. I want to take Mark's thoughts down. It's going to stay there forever. It's going to stay there for the next 5 weeks unless I can take it down. His thoughts. Anyway, I know what I need to do. Let me just click this, and then boom, just like that. You see what I did there? I'm so handy with this stuff. Yeah, now, all those canned TV classes really paid off. So let me go to my text messages here, and I'll tell you what I learned over the weekend about the Bulls. So Zach Lavine, you would say that Zach Lavine probably should be traded from the Bulls, correct?
Yes.
From an insider, somebody said that's close to the league that knows these things says that there's only one logical option for the Chicago Bulls, and that is the Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
That based on the money, there's no trade market for Zach Lavine. That's why he's not gone yet. There's nearly no trade market for Zach Lavine. And I know that sounds crazy, right? You think when healthy, Zach Lavine can give you 24 points a game, and can be a real threat offensively for any team. There's no trade market for Zach Lavine outside of Detroit. Depends if Chicago just wants to clear money. And I said, and my response to this person was, will the Lakers be interested? And this person said that the money does not work with the Lakers and the Bulls. Okay, so Cuzzo, Detroit. It's funny because on the Under the Hood podcast, if you subscribe, you've heard me do the basketball podcast, the basketball version of this podcast, and there was speculation that the Bulls could be interested in trading Zach to Detroit. And you say, well, what are you getting back? Well, you're not getting Cade Cunningham back. Right. Okay, you're not getting the frontline guys. You're getting the guys in the middle. And so If you're just trying to clear money, the Bulls could do that. And once the Bulls do trade Zach Lavine, that'll be the first sign of a rebuild or a tank. And it's a really shitty time to do that because the upcoming draft is not great. There's always a diamond in the rough in the draft, but there is no Wembanyama in this draft. That's my point.
Right.
So what do you think of that? Like Bulls trading Zach Lavine. And I want to make sure it's clear again for our new listeners and viewers. I do not dislike Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine is not the reason why the Bulls are in the position they're in. He's not the reason. It's the Bulls brass. It's Art Carney and Mark Eversley. They're the reason why they're in this position because you did not add on. You're not crafty enough to be able to get draft picks or to be able to make a couple of deals to add on. They just tacked on a couple of veterans and said, we're going to go with continuity. That it's on them. They're stuck because they just had to pay Zach. That's fine. But it's more than Lonzo Ball's injury. I'm going to cut off all those excuses. It's not about that. It's about the Bulls not having enough wherewithal to figure out a way out of this to either tank or make the team better. So
I agree with you. I think it is the Bulls brass, even though I can't really blame Eversley because I've never heard him speak. He's like in a witness protection program or something like that. But I'm sure he's helping to run an organization in some way. But when it comes to Zach Lavine, like I was optimistic when he got here from the Kings. I was optimistic that he was going to. I mean, great athlete, skilled scorer. That he would put it all together. He did. He was an all-star. But I thought he would take another step to become, like a superstar player. But and then this may be unfair. You may think this is unfair, but the more I look at him now, I see him as just an athletic Ron Mercer. A guy that when your team sucks, he's there to put the ball in the basket, and he may put some asses in seats because of some of his splash plays, but he's not a guy who's going to help you win championships. He can be a third or fourth guy on a championship team, but he cannot be a number one or number two on a championship team. And when you have a team with a dinosaur like DeRozan and a guy like Zach Lavine who can't stay healthy or be a one or two, you're going to be in basketball hell. So I think, as much as it pains me to say, the best option is probably to unload everything and build around Kobe White. Like that sounds insane. Like I never thought I would ever say in my life, hey, you should build a team around Kobe White. No, but that seems to be the best option right now.
Well, seems to be the best option. Then you're on your way to being Detroit then Miami or Indiana. I'm just because that's not. I mean, he's a nice player. The top end of the roster are a bunch of third and fourth options on good teams.
Right.
That's who they are.
But what I'm saying, build. I mean, as in rebuild. So when you're looking, you have Patrick Williams had to become. He's still the same guy. All the talent in the world, but he needs a heart transplant. So when you have a roster like that, how do you find a superstar? You find a superstar by losing. And that sounds crazy, but the only way to lose is consistently is for Kobe White to be your alpha, and you build around him. And what's crazy, when you look at the talent on the Bulls team right now, from DeRozan to Lavine to Vooch, the guy you're going to get the most from in trade is Caruso. That's the guy you're going to get the most in trade for is Caruso. Like, just think of that. Like, he's going to get you the best return in the trade, and he is really a third or fourth guy on the Bulls team. That's crazy. But, like, he has the most value because of his intangibles. So, yeah, it sounds crazy. I mean, I guess getting something back in the Pistons is better than, taking back Gordon Hayward's contract for Zach Lavine. That's insane. When you're like, hey, well, you maybe have to get Gordon Hayward's contract for Zach Lavine. What the fuck? Gordon Hayward, like it's ankles and legs are ready to splinter like any second now. Like, that's the best we can do. No draft picks, just Gordon Hayward. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So that's what it is. So when it comes to the Pistons are not going to trade Cade Cunningham or Bogdanovich or even Jaden Ivey. It's going to be guys in the middle, and it's going to be salary dumps. That's what it
Can
is.
we squeeze in a what? Can we squeeze in Wiseman? Can we maybe pray that he gets a post while he's here or something? Like, can we you need some lottery ticket? Something to give you hope. So you can say, hey, you know what? They threw in Wiseman, so maybe this kid who was the second pick in the draft, can finally figure it out. He went from a championship team with the Warriors to the Pistons, and he is he's still struggling to even stay on an NBA roster. So at least he still will be some like a lottery ticket, so something to give you hope. There's nothing. Like you have to get something better than that for Lavine. And I know you're looking to retool, but in some ways you say if the best I can do is a salary dump, maybe it's better. Maybe I'm better off holding on to Zach Lavine and just struggling along for the next few years.
You're not going anywhere with him. You're not going anywhere without him.
Yeah,
It's just what it is. So that's the latest. Is that don't be surprised if if they're going to make a deal that the Pistons, based on the money, would be the ball club. So you heard it here first.
that's good info.
I mean, that's the intel I was working on while I was in Nashville. Now, I probably won't be in that same intel when I go to Evansville, Indiana tomorrow. Don't know if the Wi-Fi or the phone works in Evansville, but that's where I'm going. Evansville, UIC against Evansville. I'm having a fun time though. No complaints. It's just, that I wish I spent more time in Nashville. Even
Right.
it would have been nice. It's a nice city, man. It's a nice city. Maybe I will go back there later on this year. But it was kind of cool. The infrastructure is it's building so quickly, Wiley. It's like everywhere you look, building up homes, businesses. It's crazy. And Taylor Swift don't even live there anymore. You can see where she used to work, as far as the where she used to record, but that city is moving so fast. It's crazy. That whole town is just moving quickly. And they want to have a baseball team one day. Maybe it's the White Sox.
Yeah, Jerry's down there scouting right now.
You know what? Next show, because we're running out of time. Next show, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the area that the Sox are thinking about moving into on Clark and Roosevelt.
Yeah,
I think in that area. We're going to talk about that. We'll do the show from there. As a matter of fact, we'll broadcast live from there and just talk about the area where the Sox could be. All right, is Rocky? Is he on punishment, or will he be able to come up and say goodbye as he always does?
Rocky.
Look, he's off punishment. Look at that. He's off punishment. Look at that. Rocky. That is the show mascot.
Sit.
Now you see, folks, what's happening here is that Cuzzo has no control over his animal, no control over his dog. It's really amazing. What's that?
Stay.
Yeah, see, he's still you see that? He's still right now trying to get his dog to just stay. Okay, just for a second, and then he's gonna just go off. Rocky! Look at that. Some discipline. Just for the moment, though. Just for the moment. See? He's gone back to being. Look at it. He's all over the place. Still looking. What's wrong? Your dog reminds me of Stevie Wonder. It's always moving his head around.
He's looking for my hands.
Yeah.
I won't give him my hands.
Oh, please don't do that, please.
Sit.
Last few comments before we're out of here for the week.
Good. Stay.
Hold on a second. Mark says, "Why kill the show with White Sox talk?" I'm not killing the show with White Sox talk, not yet. But we will talk about the possibility of them moving. That'll be next week's show. As a White Sox fan, I have no, and that's another thing. Wiley and I are White Sox fans. And by the way, Cuzzo, it's going to be great. We're going to have our own section this season. Not our own seats, our own section.
Oh, section.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, man.
That's great when you're that's great to have your own section when you're 120 lost team.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We have our own section, our own Miller Lite guy, our own lemon chill. That's gonna be
But
great.
we have to bring our Royals gear to the game because we're the Royals farm system. So we got to bring our Royals gear to the game.
What a mess. Eric Collins reminds me that Evansville, Indiana, the home of Detective Harris on Barney Miller, Ron Glass. Are you too young to remember Barney Miller? Did you watch that?
Of course not. You know that.
He's from Evansville. So, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow getting ready for UIC in Evansville. UIC needs a victory. Hopefully they'll get one. All right, for Rocky and for Cousin Wiley, this is J-Hood. Don't forget, check out Cap and J-Hood weekday morning, 7 to 10 on ESPN 1000. And also make sure you download the ESPN Chicago app and the Under the Hood podcast. If you haven't done so, you're watching the show. If you're a podcast listener, download the Spotify or iTunes, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood right there. We'll talk to you next week. So long, everybody. So long, Rocky. Oh, boy. Shaking his head. Just wild. Wild. The master has no say. Jeez.